What's up, guys? Welcome to Bro Beats. Today I'm going to be showing you guys 3 tips that can help you improve today. If you guys haven't subbed already or turn post when he's on, make sure you do so because it does help a lot. So let's hop right into it. So I'm going to give you the 3 tips right now. I'm just going to do it a little different, just for the impatient people. I'm going to give you the tips right now, and then throughout the video, as we make a beat with these, I'm going to show you and demonstrate them live because I don't like to pre-make beats or anything like that. I like to do everything live in the video. So the first tip is to strategize your drums. Now, basically in a nutshell, this is just keeping a consistent rhythm. Now, this is more for beginners because what they do is they hear these crazy producers making these crazy drums that sound really cool and everything, and they want to mimic it. And they have no idea how they made them, if they made them in real life, you know, recorded them, or however they made them, right? They just go in here and they start clicking stuff without really knowing what grids to use or anything, or any swing, right? And it just ends up terrible, right? So I would say have a strategy. Start simple, okay, and then add up as you go, but add with purpose. Don't just add a hi-hat right here just because it looks cool, right? You want to lead up into this to add bounce, especially if you're doing rap, right? Because bounce is very important. All right, so that is tip number 1. Now, tip number 2 is using textures. This can be white noise, this can be soundscapes, drones, etc. But usually these are non-musical. I'm not going to go too in detail right now, but I'm gonna just show you, like, this is not really a musical element, but this will fill up that empty space. And I'm sure a lot of people say or have said, oh, my melody, it's sounding, it's not sounding full enough, right? And this may be why. And using this can actually allow you to be more creative and use less sounds. All right, so that is tip number 2. Let's go to the last one, which is tip number 3. Lastly, we have mixing grids. Now, this is just mixing the fourths, which is 1/2, 1/4, stuff like that, and the thirds, which is 1/3, 1/6. Now, the reason I say this is because you can get a lot of bounce by implementing the thirds. And I like to call the thirds grid the bounce grid because it pretty much gives you the most bounce you can get. Now, using the regular grid is fine, but you'll see how dead it is with just this regular hi-hat, which is fine. Now, when you start to take things out, you can add bounce. Okay, but when we implement that thirds, we can simply just put something here and it'll add bounce and put more emphasis on this spot. Okay, because it's like offset, right? Or you could do stuff like this. All right, so that is that, and we'll go more into detail as we make the beat, but let's go ahead and start making the beat. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and do our drums first and implement tip number 1, which is strategizing your drums. Okay, now some people find this difficult to start with your drums, but I'll show you how to actually do that. So you can just put your rim in just like this little consistent rhythm. All right, and then from here for your 808, you can use the 5s method. So basically just start somewhere, start on a white, make this a little bit larger. Okay, and then you want to go down 5. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you can put these in those places where the 808 would hit. And then you can copy this over, and then you can do all types of stuff if you want, but I'm gonna just keep this simple just for the sake of this vid. We could maybe even turn the velocity. And then right here, we can implement our thirds, kind of implement what I just showed you. And we could probably use this A here, pull that up. And then we could turn up the velocity like this. All right, that's a little bit more smooth. All right, so that is the 808 part. So let's continue. I'm gonna try to do this in one shot. So the open hat, again, this is pretty easy right here. Just kind of continue. And this spot right here and right here are very important spots. But I'm just be generic and just put one here. All right, now with our hi-hat, okay, and this is including being strategic, right? I'm placing things based on what I placed before. I'm not just randomly placing stuff, okay? So I'm gonna show you with the hi-hats. I'm gonna listen and see where I want to put it, okay? Where I think it'll have the most bounce is pretty much what I mean. And let's switch to this, the half grid, whatever. And I'm hearing like and we can even do a thirds of 1/6 right here, cut. We can just see what that sounds like first. And I want a little bit more, so I'm gonna use the fourths. I want more of a little chop, and then we can rise this up. And then also play with the velocities as well. And then I'm just continue this out, just kind of figure out where I want to put everything. Copy that over. Right, and I like this empty space. Empty space can be used just as much as placing things, right? So let's continue. I think I want to do like a little chop here. And then let's take this tool, do something like that. And I'm trying to go slow so, you know, beginners can kind of see how to do this stuff in real time without it being sped up. Let's just copy this pattern over. And then let's turn these down. Okay, we're almost done. And let's just listen. I think placing something right here would sound pretty good. And let's just copy this part at the end so it can kind of come full circle. All right, and those are the drums. And actually, I might add a little something right here. Right, you can see everything has its own place, right? So those are the hi-hats, or I guess the drums. So now we can move on to adding texture. All right, now adding texture is the simplest thing you can do, but it's the hardest thing to remember to do. So all you have to do is just pick one you like. You know, if you like something like this, right, that'll work. But I just chose this one because it had like some voices in it, right? And it's gonna fill up that empty space. So what we can do is, let's just use this A, whatever. I don't think it really matters necessarily what notes you use. But what I like to do is change it. So like over here, go up 1 octave, and then over here, you can go down 1 octave. Right, and it really adds a lot. So make sure you also EQ out the bass if you need to, because this can clash with your 808. So that is texture. Let's move on to the last part, which is mixing grids, where we're gonna make the melody. So now what we're gonna do is use the mixing grids method on the melodies, but we need like a little melody first. So I'm gonna grab in our D minor because we started on D here. And let's go ahead and grab that in. I might need to shrink this down because we don't have that long of a melody. And then we have these strings, not just have these because they load fast. You know, the CPU just isn't gonna take a toll. So let's go here. And with these strings, we can keep it very simple. We can start on our root, and then we can pull this up 1 octave. And then if you bring this down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have a bass for pretty much a, I guess, string melody. And I probably want to stretch that out. And then over here, I would pretty much do something like that with the velocity, just to kind of give it a little bit of bounce. And then let's pull this over. I'm gonna just pull these down like so, copy them. Right, right? And we can just copy this whole part over and let's make a melody. So let's take this A, pull it up and trickle it down, and I'm gonna offset this. Let's turn this down. You can see how well it's meshing with the texture. So now really quickly for the guitar, and this is the guitar I'm using. All right, we can do the same thing with our melody. Okay, just play around with the octaves of the notes. So we can take this one, and we same notes, A, right? We can go A, do something like this, and stick to these notes if you want it to be dark. Let's go here, and maybe let's go up with that for an octave. And let's take this A and let's pull it right here, pull it down, and then from here, if you're lost, for example, because I could put anything here, but if you want to like follow a rule, you can just make a chord out of this, right? You can see this is a major chord. You can pull that up an octave to finish it out. And then, you know, there's, if you haven't seen my videos, there's a thing called the wiggle, and it's being done all over here. But I have guitar videos if you want to know what that is. Copy it over just to make it easier to make these melodies. And then I'm going to do a little. All right, one more time from here. All right, so now let's go ahead and do the flute, and we can use the thirds grid with this. All right, so now we're gonna be using our thirds grid with our flute, and this is gonna be super easy. And this is a flute from Fluffy Audio, okay? We just go to here and we can just play around. I'm gonna start somewhere around this A, but you can just literally just play around with the notes and see what you like. Okay, make this shorter, and we're in the thirds grid. Check, and then you can literally play around with this thirds grid and just have a little bit of fun. All right. All right, and it's that simple. Now we can make more because that was kind of quick. We can clone this, delete this, and we can go ahead and make another one just to show you, all right, how easy mixing these would be. Okay. So, you know, if you know what notes to land on and stuff, this will be a lot easier. I'm just playing with the scale pretty much. And then let's go up here. That might be too much. Let's copy it over. You see how much bounce I'm getting just by having this in the thirds grid. Okay, and we could do a few more just to have a little bit of fun. Let's see. Let's try something over here. Let's go up. And let's just copy this over and then go down. Let's copy this over, and then we could just delete this and do like a little. All right, let's see what that sounds like. All right, I like that one. And then one more. Let's see. All right, and I'm just doing this to show you some possibilities that you can have, and that you don't, because you know when you watch videos, you want to try to do exactly what they're doing, right? So I'm just showing you how easy you can just be creative and just put what you like. So here we can start on this A. Pull that back over. You can see how it all comes full circle. Pull that over. Pull that down. And just start it over. All right, and that is how you would use the thirds grid with the rest of your stuff. But that's good for this video. Remember those 3 tips: strategize your drums, texture, and mixing grids. And that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.